Welcome back to another episode of Roll Advantage. I am Dakota, your DM, and today we're going to go into the nature, out to the wildlands, and talk with the trees about what a druid is and how to be one. So all druids happen to be full spellcasters that commune with nature, plants, beasts, and the like. They revere nature and want to preserve the balance of it. So at level 1, you start off with 1d8 health. Your hit die for this class is d8. You also get to be proficient with light armor and medium armor as long as it's not made of metal. They have this weird preference where they don't like to use metal because it's used to be refined and it's not all about nature. So maybe if you're DM and you talk, you can actually try to get some reinforced wood armor that's been blessed and have it count as a breastplate. Who knows? You also get proficiency with a certain amount of weapons, not all of them. Not all of them are martial or simple. So you get clubs, daggers, darts, javelins, maces, quarterstaffs, scimitars, sickles, slings, and spears, which is a mouthful. But you also get a tool out of it. You get herbalism kits to be proficient in, and your saving throws are intelligence and wisdom. You get to choose from a handful of skills to be proficient in also. 2 of them to be exact, but I'm not going to go into details of which ones. You get to start off with either a wooden shield or a simple weapon, a scimitar or any simple melee weapon. You get a set of leather armor, an explorer's pack, and a druid focus. And a druidic focus is some kind of plant, be it like a twig of a willow tree or maybe a leaf of a yew tree. It all depends, but you can find that down in the player's equipment later on in the player's hand. So for being a druid at level 1, you get Druidic, which is a language that only druids understand. They are the only people that can understand it, so you can speak to this to other druids and have your party scratching their heads like, what is this guy talking about? Also, you get to have spellcasting at level 1. These are full spellcasters, so you still get the level 9 spells eventually if you reach that high and haven't had your character die and not get brought back to life. So they do have their own spell list, and you'll find out more about that as we go on. Their spellcasting modifier is Wisdom, so you start off with a spell save DC of 8 plus your Wisdom bonus plus your proficiency bonus. For spells known per day, those are equal to your Druid level plus your Wisdom modifier. So at level 2, you have Wild Shape, and what this lets you do is turn into a beast of your choice as long as its CR rating is lower than what you're allowed. So at level 2, you get to choose up to a 1/4 CR rating, and the creature must not swim or fly. So an example of this would be a wolf. At level 4, you can choose a creature that is 1/2 or lower for its CR rating, and it cannot fly yet. So an example of this would be a crocodile or a fish. At level 8, you can choose a creature that is their CR rating is 1 or lower, and it can be anything that you want as long as, it's not above that CR rating. So you could choose a falcon or anything like that. So you can stay in this form for an equivalent of hours equal to your druid level divided by 2, rounded down. So if I'm a 9th level druid, I would divide that by 2, so that's 4.5, and then round down. So I could be in that shape for about 4 hours. You can do this twice a day. Some important features to note is you retain all the actual mental abilities, so your charisma, intelligence, and wisdom, but you take on the strength, dexterity, and constitution scores of that creature. If that creature form would actually hit 0 hit points, you get knocked out of that form and retain the old HP that you had before you took on that form. Also at level 2, you get a druid circle, so it can be of the land or of the moon, I believe. And we'll talk about that later on. At level 4, 8, 12, 16, and 19, you have an ability score increase, so you have 2 points available, and you can put them in any ability score that you have. So it could be intelligence, charisma, dexterity, anything you'd like. You can even put both of them in the same ability. So an interesting one is at level 18, you have Timeless Body. So for every 10 years that you live, it actually affects your body as if you've only been living for 1 year. So you could live quite a long time. Also at level 18, you have Beast spells. So when you are in your beast form from Wild Shape, you can instead now cast magic with verbal and somatic components like you could as a human or some kind of humanoid. You cannot provide material components though for those spells. Lastly, at level 20, you have Archdruid, and what that lets you do is you can use Wild Shape as many times as you want per day. So at level 2, when you choose the Circle of the Land, you actually get to choose what kind of land you are familiar with. So it could be the coast, it could be the mountains, the Arctic, the Underdark, the forest, anything you would like. And you get spells out of that based on your Druid level. Also, at level 2, you get a bonus cantrip from your choice of the Druid spell list. Also, at level 2, you get Natural Recovery. So, whenever you take a short rest, you can recover spell slots equal to half of your Druid level, and so none of these spells can actually be above level 6 either. So if you're a 6th level Druid, you can recover spell slots equal to 3. So you could recover a 2nd level spell slot and a 1st level spell slot, or 3 of the 1st level spells. It's up to you. At level 6, you have Land Stride. So difficult terrain no longer affects your movement, and you can pass through plants as if they weren't dangerous at all, such as thorns. Also, if there's a spell that impedes your movement from a plant, such as the Entangle spell, you have advantage on spell saving throws for that. At level 10, you have Nature's Ward, so you can't be charmed or frightened by elemental or fey creatures. Then also, you are immune to poison and disease. So, at level 14, you have Nature's Sanctuary, and so if a beast or a plant tries to harm you, during their attack roll, they have to do a wisdom saving throw, and if they fail that, they must attack someone else, or their attack misses you completely. And if they succeed, then they are unaffected by this for 24 hours, and they also know that this actually happens. Next, we're going to go to the Circle of the Moon, which starts off with Combat Wild Shape. So in the middle of combat, you can use a bonus action to actually turn into a creature with your Wild Shape feature. You also get Circle Forms. So what that lets you do is you get to choose a creature with a CR rating of 1 or higher, but must abide by the actual other rules. So at that point, you cannot fly or swim still with that creature. Other than that, you have no limit on the CR rating anymore. Also, starting at level 6, you can now choose a creature with a CR rating of your Druid level divided by 3 rounded down. So if you are a level 18 Druid at that point, you can actually choose to go into a creature with a CR rating of 6. So at level 6, you have Primal Strike also. What that does is when you are in your beast shape, any attacks you do with that count as magical for overcoming resistance. At level 10, you have Elemental Wild Shape, so you can expend 2 uses of your Wild Shape feature to turn into an Air Elemental, Earth Elemental, Fire, or Water Elemental. At level 14, you have Thousand Forms. What this lets you do is you can cast the Alter Self spell at will. Here we are, guys. I led you through the forest in this video. We're now in the Sacred Grove, where all the trees are awakened and the bushes are coming to life. There's little beasts everywhere. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you actually liked it a little bit more and you want to see more of my content, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.